Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a 12-team SuperFlex mock draft from the second overall spot on Sleeper. The roster positions for today's mock draft are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, flex, a SuperFlex, kicker, defense, and 6 bench spots. But before we can get on into this 12-team SuperFlex mock from the second overall pick, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into this 12-team PPR mock draft from the second overall spot. Now, it is important for me to explain that my 2 quarterback draft strategy is the exact same thing as my SuperFlex draft strategy. Every single week, the goal is to start a quarterback in your quarterback spot and a quarterback in the SuperFlex spot. Now, obviously, the season can go awry. You could have a bunch of injuries, and maybe you have to put a non-quarterback in the SuperFlex spot, but that is the most dire of situations. Every single week, you need to have a quarterback in your quarterback spot and your SuperFlex spot, and that is why a lot of the time, I am going to draft 2 quarterbacks with my first 3 picks. So I might get a receiver and 2 quarterbacks, a running back and 2 quarterbacks, but as long as things go relatively normal in the draft, I feel incredibly confident starting my team like that. Now, obviously, there are going to be some drafts that you guys do, SuperFlex-wise, where maybe the quarterbacks aren't as hot of a commodity early on. Maybe people in your league don't really understand SuperFlex well enough, and maybe the quarterbacks, great quarterbacks, could fall to you, or decent quarterbacks in the 4th round. But in a lot of your more normal leagues, or your sharper leagues, quarterbacks are going to be flying off the board left and right. So you want to make sure that you snag 2 quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds. Obviously, there are situations where it's different and you can't do that, but you know, it's just a good rule of thumb. Again, don't trap yourself in a metaphorical box telling yourself you have to do this, but in a majority of situations, I am looking to do that. So the first pick, the draft begins with Jalen Hurts. He is my quarterback 1, so we will go with either Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen at this pick. It is really a pick your poison to me. You obviously have the world as your oyster right here at the second overall pick. The majority of times, the quarterback's going to go number 1, but I don't want to just go with Jefferson or Christian McCaffrey, Jamar Chase, something like that. I want to get the best quarterback available, and we are going to lean with Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen didn't have all that amazing of a season last year. He was still top 3. But that's mainly because he got banged up. He fucked his arm up, and that did impact his points throughout the season, right after that injury. Ultimately, I believe this Buffalo Bills offense is going to be pretty solid yet again. I think Josh Allen's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL with a whole lot of rushing upside, so he would be my number 2 overall pick if Jalen Hurts goes number 1. If you wanted to argue to go Pat Mahomes, I wouldn't really debate with you on that, but I am 100% at the number 2 overall pick, taking a quarterback every single time. After we went Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes came off the board, followed by Justin Jefferson, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert the pervert, Christian McCaffrey, Joe Shiesty, Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. The second opens with Bijan Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Austin Eckler, Deshaun Watson, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and Jonathan Taylor. In SuperFlex leagues, in my opinion, is the type of league where the tight end value, or where the value of tight ends is the lowest. When every single week you need to start 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex, the tight end position is as unimportant as it gets. Now, does that mean that you can't draft Kelce, that Kelce won't have a great year? Of course not. You can still draft Kelce, but when there's quarterbacks like Fields still available, like a quarterback that I legitimately think could finish the season as the quarterback number 1, there is no way I am taking Travis Kelce over that. I really think drafting a tight end in the first round really hurts your team in this. Normally in SuperFlex drafts, I am waiting as long as possible. I am holding out to draft my first tight end. Looking at the board right now, best quarterbacks available: Dak, Tua, Kirk Cousins. So based upon how the first team has already selected a quarterback, I feel very confident that one of Tua or Dak will be available in the next round, right? It would be absolutely batshit crazy for the team that just drafted Jalen Hurts to go Jalen Hurts, Dak, and Tua. So we are going to just say, you know what? I like Dak. I like Tua. I have Tua ranked ahead of Dak, but you can make the argument for Dak over Tua. So we are going to go with a skill position player at this pick. So best players available right now: Davante Adams, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, Garrett Wilson, Derrick Henry, Amon-Ra St. Brown. In these kind of leagues, I do kind of like to stay away from the running back position. I feel like I can jam maybe 3 running backs in a row from the 5th to the 7th round. I feel like I really want to load up with wide receivers in a super flex draft. So we are going to go with the best wide receiver available. And for me, that is Davante Adams. I have talked about Davante Adams ad nauseum on this channel. I really do believe that Davante Adams could finish as the wide receiver number 1 in fantasy football this season. I really do think that the Las Vegas Raiders, even with Jimmy Garoppolo under center, they are going to force feed the rock to Davante Adams. He is clearly their best weapon, and if Josh Jacobs holds out for the whole season, or maybe he misses the first couple of games, that is even further added upside towards Davante Adams. So we're going to stick with our rule here, and we are going to go quarterback. We are going to lean with Tua Tagovailoa because I have Tua ranked higher than Dak. If you want to go Dak because you think Dak Prescott's a little safer, which he probably is, right? He doesn't have that same injury risk that Tua has, but at the end of the day, I feel like Tua is going to end up outscoring Dak Prescott. I like the strategy, though, that the 4th team implied here, or utilized here. They got Jefferson, Lamb, and Dak Prescott. I think that stacking your quarterback with a wide receiver in a super flex league is really awesome, something that I would definitely like to do. Now, the thing is, we got Tua, we got Josh Allen, so it's pretty hard to get Diggs and Josh Allen. It's pretty hard to get Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle if you do go with, or one of those guys, Tyreek or Waddle, if you go with, instead of just going 1 quarterback, right, we went with 2. So that is a little bit harder to stack. Again, you don't need to stack to win, but I do think it gives you an extra bonus. After Dickie Dak Prescott, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, Kirk Chains, Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Jalen Waddle away, Waddle. Chris Olave. The 4th opens with Metcalf, Ramondre, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, Ron Rodgers, TJ Hawkinson, Higgins, Jared Goff, Danny Dimes, and Jahmyr Gibbs. So looking at the board at running back here, it is a little gross. I'm not a huge fan of ETN. I do worry about Walker's usage with Charbonnet there, Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones, but not really in the 4th round of a super flex draft. So for me, it's easily wide receiver here. Keenan Allen or Calvin Ridley would be the pick. Again, I do have Calvin Ridley ranked the highest. I have taken him in so many of these mock drafts. I am a humongous believer in this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. The 2nd year of Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson. Calvin Ridley slots in as the clear number 1 receiver on this team. I think Calvin Ridley has the upside to get over 1,500 yards. I think, obviously, I don't have him ranked as a top 5 receiver, but I think that there is a chance that Ridley just gets so many targets in Jacksonville, and this Jaguars offense is going to be shitting on defenses. I really think that Calvin Ridley could finish as the wide receiver 1. After with Ridley, we saw Geno Smith followed by Travis Etienne, Calvin Ridley's teammate. We are going to go wide receiver here, and we are going to go with Keenan Allen of the LA Chargers. I love getting Keenan Allen this year. It really feels like everyone is off of Keenan Allen because he's getting older, and they bring in the other receiver who they just drafted, Quentin Johnston. They still have Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen is quote-unquote injury prone. Well, if you actually look at the games that Keenan Allen has played over the last couple of years, I know last year he only played in, I believe, 10 games, but prior to that, he played in 15 or more games, basically every single year dating back to, I believe, 2017. So Keenan Allen has been a lot more healthy, a lot more safe than people believe. They seem to think he is just a humongous walking injury risk. I don't really think so when it comes to Keenan Allen. After Russell Wilson, or after one with Keenan Allen, we see Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, Kenneth Walker, George Kittle, me Timbers, Deebo Samuel, Anthony Richardson, Ron Jones, Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, Miles Sanders, and Jerry Jeudy. The 6th opens with Drizzy Drake London, Joe Mixon, Christian Watson, Kyle Pitts, D-Hop, Damian Pierce, Dallas Goedert, DJ Moore, Darren Waller, DeAndre Swift. That has to be some type of a fucking record, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in a row where their first name starts with a D. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but that's kind of crazy. So looking at our team right now, we got Allen, we got Devontae, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, and Tua Tagovailoa. Right now, if this was a legitimate draft, I would be licking my chops. I might have jizzed in my pants a little bit like the Lonely Island song. I would be ecstatic to have this team. And now we just get to go MC Hammer time on the running back position. If you guys have enjoyed the video thus far, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button down below. So J.K. Dobbins is a guy that I have been fading in drafts. He did actually come back to training camp, so that's very positive towards him. I do think that the Ravens are going to be a lot more pass heavy. 100% they are going to throw the ball more compared to the last couple of seasons under Todd Monken. But at the end of the day, even when I say that I want to fade a player, right, I'm not too sure about how I think J.K. Dobbins is going to perform. I feel like it is not going to live up to his ADP. But J.K. Dobbins, to me, has fallen, right? Like Humpty Dumpty off that wall. I feel like I'm getting him at a discount. And I also really do believe this. If you guys play in, for instance, just one league, right? If you play in just one league and you don't like J.K. Dobbins or you don't like Debo, you don't like Jared Goff for some fucking reason, just don't draft them, right? You're in one league, fade those guys. But if you're in 5 leagues, 6 leagues, some people, they're in 10, 20 leagues, then what you want to do is just draft that player that you might not like on one of those teams, right? Because if you get it wrong, right, everyone's going to be wrong. There are players that I say I think are going to suck donkey hog this season, and they could end up smashing, right? So even if I don't like this certain player, I still kind of want to get them on one of my teams because I play in so many leagues. But again, if you just play in one league, this is your one SuperFlex league, your one league, go ahead and fade the guy, right? If you don't like Dobbins, fade him. But I'm going to get him here at the 6.11. I think that was a solid value. After J.K. Dobbins, we see Brandon Ayuk and Jackson Smith-Njigba. And what really worries me about Dobbins is not necessarily even the workload, which I think could be reduced. I really worry about his injury risk. Now, I'm as much of a doctor as Johnny Sins, so again, this is not coming from a doctor perspective. It just feels a little gross when you click on J.K. Dobbins, but I think this is the kind of team you want him on, right? This is a team that has the quarterbacks. It has the receivers. It's a loaded team, so I'm taking that risk on the running back, right? I'm not taking some super safe running back, right, that I think is just going to cruise his way to 10 points every single week. I'm taking that shot deep from 3 on a high upside play like J.K. Dobbins. So after Dobbins, like I said, Ayuk and Jackson Smith-Njigba. So we're going to keep on going with the running backs here. Akers, Madison, Connor, best running backs available to me. I like Dalvin Cook, but not ahead of those guys. Really a pick your poison. I personally have Madison ranked the highest, but you could argue that you could rank Connor the highest or Cam Akers. I think we are going to go with Akers this time. I feel like Akers really has that running back 1 role locked up in LA. I feel like the LA Rams are a team that's going to like to run the ball a decent amount this year. Cam Akers was stunting on defenses late in the season. Now, a lot of people are scared shitless to draft Cam Akers because if you drafted him last year, he legitimately destroyed your insides. You drafted him, you started him week 1, and against the Bills, it was an unmitigated disaster, a flaming pile of horseshit. And then he requests a trade. They don't trade him. He's like barely playing. And then towards the end of the season, it seemed like everything was just resolved somehow. I don't know what happened behind closed doors, but magically Cam Akers was back as the workhorse, and the guy was dominating 50 Shades of Grey style the defenses. So will he be able to repeat that for a whole season? I don't think he's really going to be this top 5 like elite running back. Like he literally looked like the second coming of fucking Bo Jackson at the end of last season. I don't think he's going to do that, but could he finish top 12? 100%. After Cam Akers, Michael Pittman Jr., Alvin Kamara, Chris Godwin, James Conner, Tyler Lockett in my pocket skirt, Christian Kirk, Derek Carr, David Carr, Alexander Madison, Bryce Young, Jordan, do you love me? Rashad White, Javonte Williams, Matthew Stafford, David Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, Deontay Johnson, Isaiah Pacheco, A.J. Dillon, Treylon Burks, and Mike Williams. I'm still out on Kamara. I understand that there are people, there's comments that are like, this Nick guy is a complete and utter fucking window licker for not drafting Alvin Kamara. How is he fading Alvin Kamara? I'm fading Alvin Kamara because I'm worried about his goal line usage getting vultured by Jamal Williams. I'm worried about the fact that I know Taysom Hill's going to score like 12 touchdowns somehow. And I'm worried about the fact that what happens if this team starts off looking really well. They've got other running backs, right? They've got Jamal Williams. They have the guy that they just drafted, whose name was escaping me, Kendre Miller, right? Who's similar to Alvin Kamara. What happens if Alvin Kamara, I understand his job isn't going to get stolen from him. When he comes back, he's going to sit on the Iron Throne as the running back one, but could he not be seeing as many snaps as normal? Could Kendre Miller cut into that receiving workload? 100%. He 100% could. So now we are at the point where we have to start considering taking our third quarterback, right? Because you don't want your third quarterback being some schlub like Mac Jones, who you could literally just start some other asshole that's a running back or a receiver as your super flex, and they might outscore Mac Jones. Now, I 100% think Mac Jones is going to bounce back and not be as bad as last season, but I also don't think he's going to be like a guy you want to start every single week. I love Brock Purdy, but I don't know if I can wait until the 10th round to get him, because then I might be getting into the Desmond Ridder range, Ryan Tannehill range. Kyler is just kind of a no draft for me. If you can play guys, I guess if you can throw him on your IR, maybe you want to draft him. But I'm worried that he's going to come back and he's going to be healthy enough to play. But when he comes back, is he going to be healthy enough to run, right? He just came off of this catastrophic injury last season on I think it was on a primetime game. The whole world was watching. He was early on in that game. He really going to try to tuck and run a bunch? Like, sure, he's going to run, but is he going to run as much? Like, we saw this with Joe Burrow after he tore his ACL. I think he tore his ACL, MCL, and UCL. If I said that incorrectly, I apologize. Not a doctor, like I said, but Burrow didn't run as much in his second year, right, coming off that injury. So it wouldn't shock me if Kyler's a little bit more cautious when it comes to running, and that could really, not that it could, it will really hurt his value. So right now we got Dobbins and Akers as our running backs. So we're probably just diving back into the running back position. I want to go with James Cook here. I have been someone that has completely flip-flopped on James Cook. I was completely out, and now I'm on the James Cook fucking bandwagon. I am banging the drum for him. I've seen some people online trying to fade him. At the end of the day, Dalvin Cook ain't coming there. He's on the New York Jumbo Jets. They've got other guys behind him like Damian Harris, but I like Damian Harris, the running back, but James Cook significantly faster than him, better pass catcher. Obviously, Josh Allen's going to vulture on the goal line. We already know that. And Josh Allen doesn't really check down that much, but I think James Cook is good enough to where he's going to want to check down. James Cook looked really good in that first preseason action. Don't overreact to preseason. Don't overreact to training camp, but positive action in preseason, positive in training camp, scored a tug in that game. I love James Cook this season. Complete 180 on him. So the question is, do we go Pickett or Big Cock Brock? With Pickett, this fucker's never getting benched. He is never getting benched. They are going to ride Kenny Pickett until he passes away, right? They are not going to sit him down. They're not going to play Mason Headless Horseman Rudolph after he got smacked by Myles Garrett. They're not going to play Kissin' Titties Mitchell Trubisky. Whereas with Purdy has way more upside, in my opinion. But I think they could pull the... It's so funny that Trey Lance is listed as their quarterback 3 when they paid all those picks to the Dolphins. So funny, as a Dolphins fan, you fucking love to see it, right? And they drafted the second coming of Tom Brady and Brock Purdy at the end of the draft as Mr. Irrelevant. But the question is, Purdy, way more risky. There's way more risk. He could get pulled out for Sam Darnold. But Pickett, you're kind of just accepting mediocrity. Now, I know he's going to get better than he was last season, right? It's hard to get worse. The offensive line's going to get better. He's got Deontay Johnson. He's got George Pickens. He's got Najee. He's got Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington. He's got these weapons, right? But I don't think he's going to get that much better to where he's a guy I'd want to start weekly. Whereas there's legitimate reason if Tua had a bad matchup, I'm playing Josh Allen through the thick and thin, right? Josh Allen could be going up against the 85 fucking Bears and I'm playing him, right? I'm not sitting him down. That would be insane. But I might consider sitting Tua against a tougher defense, even though I love my guy Tua. And then I will throw Big Cock Brock Purdy in. So we're going to check the buys. Josh Allen by 13, Tua by 10. Perfectly. None of these guys have the same bye week. So if they all stay healthy, and if Brock doesn't get tugged out of the game, Deshaun Watson style, we are going to go with Brock Purdy because any given week, we could play any of those. And on the bye weeks, we will always have 2 out of 3 quarterbacks able to play. Again, do not worry too much about bye weeks at running back, receiver. The only positions you need to worry about buys, quarterback and tight end. In a 1-quarterback league, 100% you need to worry about that because in a SuperFlex league, you can technically just play someone else in the SuperFlex and it'll be fine. But in a 1-quarterback league, you don't want to draft 2 guys with bye 10 because then what is the point in holding on to the other guy if you can't even play him when the other guy's on bye? Same thing with tight end. So make sure you guys check that before you make your draft selection. So Purdy, Hollywood Brown, Njoku, Jordan Addison Ray, Evan Ingram, George Pickens, Pat Fryermuth, Kyler Murray, Antonio Gibson, Jahan Dotson, Quentin Johnston, Brandon Let Him Cooks, Zach Charbonnet, Kenny Pickett, Small Hands Man, Samaje P. Ryan, Dalton Schultz, Gabe Davis, Kadarius Toney, Chig, Juju, and Michael Thomas, my boy MT. Tomorrow you guys will see this video, or today, actually, you are going to see me talk up Michael Thomas ad nauseum, and some people are gonna hate it. They're gonna click off the video. But I've talked myself fully into Michael Thomas. So now we don't need any more quarterbacks. We eventually do need a tight end. These tight ends are a little gross, so we're just gonna go with a receiver here first. Jameson Williams, a guy that's just pretty much off my board. If you are playing a league where you can play a suspended player and throw them into your IR, not play them, but throw them in your IR and then pick someone up after the draft, sure. But if not, like, no need to have a guy that's just burning 6 weeks on my fucking bench, because if push comes to shove, he's the first cut candidate on my team, and I'm drafting him in the 10th round, right? We're going to go Elijah Moore here. Elijah Moore's a no-brainer for me. Love this Cleveland Browns offense. I really believe that Deshaun Watson's bouncing back this year. Elijah Moore was god-awful in New York with the Jets, but they're the Jets. They let him go, and now he's going to be the second coming of the best receiver ever in the NFL. After Elijah Moore, Zay Flowers, and Rashad with 2A's Penny. We are going to go tight end here. I think the best tight end available is Higbee, so can we wait? I feel like every team has a tight end. This team doesn't have a tight end right next to us. This team is 2 tight ends. Multiple teams have 2 tight ends. Yeah, so we're kind of pigeonholed into going tight end here. These 2 teams don't have tight ends. That's why it's important to look at the draft board. 100% a bunch of tight ends are going to go, and we don't really want Gerald Everett as our starting tight end. Komet's the highest ranked, but we are going to go with Kincaid this time. I like Higbee more than Kincaid, but we're getting that stack. Josh Allen to Dalton Kincaid. I'm going to be honest with you. In best ball, I'm drafting Dawson Knox every single time because I think he's going to get more usage than people think, and he's like my tight end 3 on my team. But in a week-to-week league, like a redraft league like this, where we got to set the lineup, Dalton Kincaid, I would start him every single week over Dawson Knox. Obviously, he has gotten so many positive reports out of camp. Let's see if Sleeper is better than Fantasy Pros. He wasn't targeted in his preseason debut, but there's been a lot of positive sparks out of camp for Kincaid. And again, if he sucks, he's my 11th round pick, right? It's not like Kyle Pitts' rookie year where people were sucking this guy off. Gawk 9,000. He's going like the 4th round. Dalton Kincaid getting a lot of hype, but he's in the 11th, the 12th round. So it's a lot easier of a pill to swallow. After Dalton Kincaid, Brian Robinson, Rashad Master Bateman, Jameson Williams, Jamal Williams, Tyler Algier, Alan Lazard, Greg Dulcich, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Higbee, Cole Kmet, 13th opens with, or the 12th opens with A-Chain, 2 chains, Sky with 2 Wisemore, Damian Harris, Adam Thielen, the guy with a lot of grit, Jacoby Myers, Jerick McKinnon, Odell Beckham Jr., Darnell, here comes the Moody, Tyler, yeah, Boyd, and Sam Laporta. We need nicknames for guys going earlier, right? All of the late round picks have these fun nicknames, right? Like, even in the middle of the rounds, we got Wiki, DJ Moore, right? We got the, just kidding, Dobbins. We've got guys with a lot of nicknames. But at the beginning, like, none of these guys have nicknames, right? Kermit the Frog, Pat Mahomes, but I don't ever actually call him that. We need to think of some nicknames. Got to get in the lab, think of some more nicknames. As the season goes along, we will think of some more nicknames. So make sure you're subscribed, hitting that like button. We are going to go, we have 1, 2, 3 running backs. We have 4 receivers. Definitely need to go running back here. With Kincaid, you can certainly consider drafting another tight end. We're going to go with Tank Bigsby. We take him like every single draft. He's just a free square for me right now, like that bingo free square that you get. He's in a great offense. If something happens to ETN, I legitimately think Tank is good enough to be like a top 12 guy in my rankings weekly. Now, will he be like number 12? Maybe he's like number 15, but right, he's got like that top 12 upside. He's big boy, bigger than ETN. He is going to get goal line touches. He's going to get pass catching opportunities. So in a pinch, in a real big pinch, right, someone gets hurt. J.K. Dobbins get hurt for the 7,000th time, and you have to play Tank Bigsby, even with ETNs there. You can galaxy brain yourself into talking it into a Tyler Bigsby game, a Tank Bigsby game. Plus, his name is Tank, man. Tank, a guy named Tank isn't playing some soft football, right? He's running some poor bastards over. So we're going to go tight end, actually. Since we went with Kincaid, normally I don't go 2 tight ends, but this is a scenario to do it. I did kind of just shit on Gerald Everett, like if he was my only tight end. But as my second tight end, again, the LA Chargers are going to be a good team. They have a lot of weapons there, but like if you have to start him in a pinch, all he needs is like a touchdown and you'll be fine. And he should score a decent amount of touchdowns this season. Again, not like 15 or something crazy like that. But if you started him, there's like a 40% chance, 30% chance that he scores a touchdown. And then you don't have to talk yourself into like Gesicki or something like that. So that's fine with me. And again, Everett's a guy that like probably realistically would be like the first guy cut off my team because I want to hold on to Tank Bigsby for dear life. Gerald Everett, like some other hot commodity at tight ends fucking shows up, a new piece of ass to throw into my lineup. I'll cut Gerald for that. So plus the guy's name is Gerald. After that, we got Rondale Moore, Donta Foreman, Devin. And you know what? That's fucked up because there's probably someone named Gerald watching this video like, motherfucker, man. Someone's making fun of my name. Gerald's actually a pretty cool name, so never mind. Devin Singletary, Raheem Mostert, Zeke, Rashee Rice, Jalen Warren, Roshan Johnson, Michael Mayer, Irv Smith. The 14th opens with Hefe Wilson, Romeo Dobbs, Zay Jones, Jalen Hyatt, Michael Gallup, Jonathan Mingo, DJ Chark, Jerome Ford, Chase Brown, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers. Definitely need another receiver on this squad because I think we're going to want 3 receivers in at all times, 2 in the receiver spot, 1 in the flex spot. We are going to go... We're going to go upside shot here. We're going to go Jaden Reed. Right now he's the number 3 receiver on the Packers, but I think he could end up being the number 2 behind Christian Watson. And then we're going defense and kicker. Luckily in this draft, no one went defense or kicker early, which is what you should do. So we're going to go with the best kicker available, Justin Tucker the fucker. And then for defense, you want to be drafting a defense playing up against a not-so-hot opponent in week 1. I don't care if that defense is absolutely terrible. I made a joke in the video from yesterday that your defense could be getting ran through more than fucking Logan Paul's fiance, but at the end of the day, you're still going to want to draft them because it's all about the opponent they're playing. We always go with the Commanders, left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders going up against the Arizona Cardinals week 1. And then maybe Russell Wilson and the Broncos are a flaming pile of dog shit, and then you get to play them again. So to recap our squad here, we're going to bring this down. We got Josh Allen, Devontae Adams, Tua Tagovailoa, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, James Cook, Big Cock, Brock Purdy, Elijah Moore. We got Dalton Kincaid, Tank Bigsby, Gerald Everett, Jaden Reed, Justin Tucker, and the Commanders defense. So let me know down below in the comment section what you guys thought about this team. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button down below. I'd appreciate it a ton. Shout out to everyone who requested the SuperFlex draft. I did it for you. Hope you enjoyed. Maybe one more SuperFlex draft before the end of making off-season content. And then coming up pretty soon, we got the week 1 extravaganza starting that Monday, Labor Day. I know some of you guys will still be drafting. I have 2 drafts on Labor Day, but there will be week 1 content on Labor Day. So I love you guys. Hope you all have a great one. And again, thought about this a bunch. Sunday, live stream all day, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until deep into the night, like a thief in the night. Who makes that song? Pop Smoke. Shout out to Pop Smoke. Yeah, we are going to be live for a while, talking shop, doing drafts on Underdog, answering questions, lots of guests. Going to be a fun time. Love you guys. Have a great one. Hit that subscribe button. Click on one of the videos that's on your screen right now. You're going to want to watch something else. You're going to want to have a great time. Love you guys. Genuinely, have a great one.